again, Tower of God greatness, another 10 out of 10 chapter. It never stops. So we get a continuation of what Graham was telling Bomb, and my god, we got so much information on this chapter, including the fact that it was unusually long. Like the last chapter, this chapter was like 60-70 pages long. You know, if there's one thing I like about Tower of God, is the amount of pages in each chapter, so it makes it worth waiting a week for. But anyways, we got a lot of information on this chapter. It was mind-boggling, actually. One of the best chapters of Tower of Gods, along with the last one. The last one was kind of they didn't really finish what they were saying, but you know, it made sense in this chapter. Now, the first bomb was that there were actually 13 great families, hence why there's 13-month series, because they're something along the lines of, you know, Jahad having 13 months in his country or something like that. And the 13-month series were basically a key that Jahad shared with the other family heads. Again, I saw this somewhere in the comment section in my last video. I thought someone actually predicted it, but I found out it was that the current story is actually 2 chapters ahead of the webtoons, which I never really knew about. But yeah, I did get spoiled a bit. I mean, not really, since I always thought it was just a theory, but you know, it ended up happening. So at the end of the day, it did make sense. Anyways, Arlene was said to have one of those keys, meaning she was the head of her own family. That's what I think anyways. And yes, it was confirmed that Arlene was actually Bomb's mother. His father wasn't Jahad like some people thought he was, but someone named V, which probably stands for Violet, and that's where like Bomb gets his full name, you know, Jew, Violet, Grace from Arlene, and the Violet from his father, and Jew was probably just his first name. And Mircea, we now know that Mircea, the current god of Fugue, was serving under V, which is assuming to be Bomb's father. I don't know if that's V's child, but I'm kind of assuming that V is Bomb's father. So Mircea, the current god of Fugue, was serving under V at that time. But the thing with Mircea is that she also has the title of Grace, like Arlene, in his name. I don't know if it's a he, or I forget if it's a he or her, but it's probably a he. So Mircea must be related to Arlene in some kind of way. I don't think he's just a regular like underling of V at that time. He must had some relations to V at that moment. Again, Mircea is the 15th ranker in the tower at the moment, so he's basically going on with the whole rebellion that V and Arlene started back in those days when they were rebelling against Jahad. And basically, Bomb's parents are essentially the reason Fugue was created. We know that Fugue back then, like in the earlier chapters, we knew that Fugue was the greatest enemy of Jahad, and we never knew why, but now we know. Now we got all of this information there. And basically, Mircea is going on with the rebellion against Jahad, you know, and trying to create this god, which is Bomb, who will eventually kill Jahad. But Arlene and V, when they started the whole rebellion, they actually lost against Jahad, and Jahad was actually obsessed with Arlene, so he got kind of triggered in a way, and they started the whole war there. But they lost that battle, and at the time they were running away, Arlene was actually pregnant with Bomb at the time, but he was killed right in front of Arlene as soon as he was born. So that was kind of crazy. I got kind of shook from that. And this whole situation caused Arlene to go crazy. She hated Jahad, and eventually caused V to kill himself eventually. So she was kind of mad in that sense, and she wanted to leave the tower. She eventually found her way out and put a spell on Bomb's dead body to kind of preserve it in a way. Then she offered his body to the god of the outside world, and someday that power would go into Bomb's body and revive him. Again, man, I was just mind blown. I got a little chills in my spine right there. Now, the god she was referring to, I'm thinking is Phantomanium, or some other axis or god we don't know about. Again, the only axis in the series that was confirmed is Phantomanium, because there was this whole prophecy explaining how Bomb would gain the power of the Red Thorn and use it to kill Jahad, and open the key to the hidden door. So eventually Baham will lead the tower, everyone in the tower, to greater heights, and essentially going above the current floor they're stuck on, so floor 134. And Enryu was the messenger of this god. So Enryu, who's a top tier in the verse, is a messenger of this person. I'm thinking it's Phantomanium, to be honest, unless it's someone else we haven't seen yet, or we haven't heard his name yet. But this person is confirmed to be an access, so a god. Again, this whole thing with Bomb, I think Bomb, his reaction was kind of lackluster in a way, but I don't think he's gonna like do it. He's not gonna like accept, you know, killing Jihad, and it really depends how things go as well, because Bomb, he may not want to do this right now, but I feel like in some way or another he's gonna have to do it, because it's a prophecy, like it's gonna happen either way. But yeah, this part of the chapter was just mind blown. The reveals are just crazy. And next up we go to Rachel, and my question here is, how does Rachel know about Arlene? A lot of people are saying she was a servant of Arlene back then. I mean, there's the earlier chapters of Tower of God. There was this whole situation with Bomb and Rachel. They were in like a cave or something, so there might be some connections there. I'm also curious of what happened to Rachel back then, because she's an oddball as well, because she also has the same kind of dream with Arlene, where they both want to kind of like see the skies and like the stars and to be free and things like that. But you know, fuck Rachel though, I'm just saying that. But it was kind of interesting. Yeah, a lot of high parts in this chapter, and the biggest being Arlene and V's story. We also have Heljo and this thing going on there, and Cocker seemingly wants to revive White by using the souls that is on this floor, so there's a lot of hype there. And the biggest of all, the last panel, yo, I have been waiting on this, man. Enryu. There's a lot of hype on Enryu. Like ever since we've been reading Tower of God, Enryu has been the person who has been hyped up as like the most prominent guy in the series. So there's definitely hype for the next chapter. That panel was just so lit, yo. The dude's design looks kind of crazy, but I feel like Tower of God has just gone to like a whole different level, and we have so many questions answered. At the same time, there's so many theories left open, but you know, complexity is just on a whole different level. Yeah, but yeah, this chapter was definitely hype. 10 out of 10 for sure. You guys know that it's definitely a 10 out of 10, and it's Pharaoh, and I will see you guys later. Hype.